out of it.
The amount of times where it's like, yeah, are you guys ready? Silence, silence, silence. I'm just gonna go with it. And
Kind
we're
of
just-
sounds
Blame Brandon. I was too busy playing hide and seek with him.
You know, I try not to blame Brandon for everything because
Yeah, but
it's very easy.
Really, yeah, it's really easy.
You know, we love you a lot, Brandon, but at the same time, you are the perfect scapegoat. No joke.
Yep.
Well, he takes it so well.
Bow chicka bow.
Hi, welcome to Cracked Brain.
No, that's more
We're-
like welcome to Ray's humor.
So we have guest David,
Hello.
the Portal
Portal
64.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not 69. We don't do that joke anymore.
It did actually happen for a while.
No, there's been a few times people changed the 64 to a 69. And I'm like, no.
I mean, for
Different channel, different site. Don't. No, I can't.
Hey, I mean,
but
you could
fan
always.
art.
Oh
But,
God.
well, not just
No.
the fan art, but you could pull a Belle Delphine by making a Pornhub account. If you get like so many subscribers or something,
I could-
and just make it like a joke account.
I can sell my bathwater.
Exactly.
I hate that this is a thing.
I finally know how to make money off of my channel. Thank you.
Yep. Well, she is back in the news with, I think she's selling her spit now.
Gosh, why? Did she before or after she brushed her teeth?
Good
don't know.
question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
bringing this up. No. I'm
Okay.
actually glad you literally said that. So today, I went and got a new phone yesterday, and I'm still learning how to go and like kind of deal with all of it. So you were over here when we're sitting there trying to like go and get through everything, update, all the stuff, and it just wasn't
Yeah.
working. So finally got it set up after you were gone. Didn't realize that I didn't actually like sign it up onto the Sprint network. So as I'm getting ready to leave for a photo shoot today, all of a sudden like I'm realizing, oh, I've got no mobile anything.
Oh no.
So I stopped by Sprint real quick. It takes them like 15-20 minutes to kind of go and get things like set up and whatnot. While I'm there, one of the Sprint employees, all of a sudden, he leans over to the guy like next to him. And he's like, "Hey, did you know that certain Chick-fil-A's have mouthwash inside the bathroom?"
What? No.
Yeah.
That sounds fake.
I looked at him. I was like, "No, you are sadly mistaken. There's no way that this is gonna happen." He's like, "No, I'm not joking. It's real and whatnot." So I was like, "This is BS. There's no way it's gonna be a thing." So I sit there. I go and get it done. On my way back from the photo shoot today, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see if he's right. I'm gonna check this out. I went to 3 different Chick-fil-A's
I'm on the edge
over
of my
in Salt
seat now.
Lake.
Oh no.
Checked it out. Only one of them did, and it was like basically like the hand soap over here, the doggone like air dry over here,
Yeah.
and then like right around over here there was mouthwash, and it was like a little like like it was almost one of those little dispensers with a little cup too. And I'm sitting there like, who's gonna risk it? Who in their right mind is gonna be like, oh yeah, mouthwash from a place where that could be anything,
Yeah.
So I looked at that. I was like, this is weird. Then I walk out. And someone comes in, starts using the facility, and goes, "Hey, mouthwash!" And I hear him use it. I'm like, dude, you are way too trusting.
You never see it. You'd never see it. Like, I would probably be that guy, even though I wouldn't use it. I'd be like, oh my gosh, mouthwash. It's just, you just never. I want. It's in Salt Lake, right?
It's in Salt Lake. The Sprint guy was saying there's one out over here in Utah County, and that's the one that he had gone to and noticed it at.
Because I just wondered with Salt Lake having, a lot of homeless people and Chick-fil-A being one of those like randomly kind people, like they do random kind things, if that was like for homeless people to come wash their
Now,
teeth in.
would that be more for the homeless people or more for the Chick-fil-A employees? Like, look, I want to give you
why not
food,
both? Yeah.
but your breath is kicking harder than Bruce Lee. So, like, go to the bathroom, wash your mouth out. We got mouthwash for you. Just use that. Because I don't, like I said, I don't trust it at all.
Yeah.
Because it could it says mouthwash.
Yes.
It could be turpentine. It could be arsenic. It could be soap. It could be whatever they want to go and put inside there. I'm not going to another place and going mouthwash. My mouth.
Yeah.
Well, that falls in line with the whole Blue Bell ice cream prank that a lot of people were doing.
Oh
That's
no, they
right.
did it with all sorts of stuff. Like they do gallons of milk and like
Ew.
I saw peanut butter done once. They do anything. So it's basically
Oh my
just
gosh.
don't buy anything unless it's sealed.
Yeah.
Please watch
Yeah.
for your health.
Well, there was some people that were pulling a prank with like a Purell hand sanitizer
Uh-huh.
because you just open up the top and you pour the Purell in. Well, people were like spitting in there or spraying stuff in there, and so you never know with that whole mouthwash thing.
See, what causes people like I realize that, you know,
Mhm.
when you're a teenager, you're prone to do stupid things.
Well, a lot of these are like people in their 20s.
And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, how many people sit there and go like they've got no real desire to connect with anyone in the community and just go like, oh, I'm gonna spit in there, I'm gonna throw something in there, or God knows what else they're gonna go and do
Yeah.
inside there. You know, shut up. I know where your brain is. You know, but I just sit there like, that's supposed to be for everyone. Like the one thing that's supposed to be clean, and you jack it up so forever unclean now. This is just,
Yeah.
my own mind just made this so much worse.
I mean, it,
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I would have not thought of that until you said it, but it was kind of like what you and I talked about like maybe a half hour ago before the stream started when we were talking about the person with the moon ball
Yeah.
at RTX. Like, people just kind of act a certain way just to be part of it. They saw the one idiot in the video and like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could be part of a thing. I could be like that. If I dress up as Deadpool at a Comic-Con, that makes me Deadpool, right? And so that's not calling out Deadpool cosplayers, but
No,
sort
call
of
'em
is
out.
at the same time, yeah.
Call him out. You're a
Yeah,
scourge
okay.
on humanity.
I love
Signed ThePortal64.
Yeah.
Portal 69.
Yeah, Portal69 said that, not Portal64. Throw the blame at that guy.
I'm not joking. This alter ego, this is going to be a thing.
Oh, it could be like Mason and Garrick.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, you just signed up for so many wrong things. You're welcome.
Someone help me.
So what happened in the RTX thing?
Okay, so they do Let's Play live with Achievement Hunter and Funhouse and them like the Thursday night before RTX starts. So RTX starts Friday morning. Thursday night they're doing their live show performance. And Achievement Hunter has this game called Moonball, where you get a moonball, you yell Moonball, and you just throw it, and everyone just ducks and covers pretty much. Some girl up on the balcony was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to be funny, throws a moonball at the stage. And there's many different versions of this story. Where's my water bottle? There it is. So, like, one version of the story I've heard is Gavin had, like, a glass bottle that he was lifting up to his mouth like this, and the moonball hits the glass bottle out of his hand or something. Glass broke. Ball also bounces off the ground, hits Michael Jones in the face, and it also hits Ryan as well. And the girl was like joking about it on Twitter, like, oh my gosh, I hit him and blah blah blah. And she had her ultra badge revoked, and it's like, man, that was like the most expensive ticket you could buy for RTX this year, and you got it taken away the night before it starts.
Like we were saying and whatnot, the things that people do to, you know, it's like, oh, they think they're going to be having a little bit of fun, you know, but are really just being pricks. You know, I realized that just comes with youth, because there are even things that I did that now I look back at and I sit there and go like, okay, I was an idiot, but I never really tried doing anything that was going to either harm or affect anyone else. It was always just like, oh, well, I'm going to run and jump. Well, okay, so it affected my parents and the fact that their son almost died millions of times.
Yeah.
You know, but it was never like, oh, I'm going to go and do something to someone else.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
It could be for just the sake of the thrill of it, because they're like, oh, I'm like doing something that, you know, I shouldn't be, or you know, or just disgusting, and it's like, well, I don't have to care because I'm going to be like out of the scene in like a few minutes.
Yo.
Mm.
Yeah. So I mean,
And then I could, you know, brag about it.
And even then, bragging, it's like, especially when you're inside kind of like an online community and whatnot, it's like, oh, okay, you're going to brag to the, I mean, yeah, there's a good pool of people right there, but it's something where, like, how much notoriety are you really going to go and get off the thing? It's just going to be like, I did the thing! 2 days later, crickets, so the only non-cricket it is the people that actually affected it. Now they're irritated and pissed off, so it's like, yeah, you just pissed off the people that you came here to see. Amazing.
Yeah, an odd thing that I sort of, like, I heard, so the next day, RTX had to make an official tweet saying anyone that throws stuff at the stage or at participants will be banned.
Yeah.
But they gave the badge back to the girl because it wasn't a rule yet technically, but she's the reason why the rule was made. I'm with you. I'm like, no. Don't give her back her badge.
You don't reward that shit.
See, the only thing I can think of is if they had a stern talking to her. Pull her aside and go like, look, we're now going to put this sort of rule and this sort of thing over in place. All right, we took away your badge, then we asked you to leave. We will give it back to you if you do not do this anymore. And odds are, she probably had to sign something too.
Yeah.
And that's something where it's like, okay, I could easily see, an event kind of like that going like, we're gonna make it nice, because basically what's gonna go on is if she were to be completely banned like she was right over there before there was any kind of rule like that. Yeah, we sit over here like, no, ban her. She messed up. That's her fault.
Yeah.
But then there's always another side that's gonna be like, well, there wasn't a rule about it, so how was she supposed to know?
Yeah.
You can't always sit there and go like, common sense. So for that kind of company sitting there going like, is it worth any sort of the bad press or publicity that's gonna we'll make the rule now.
Yeah. And it was kind of to the point where she kind of made everyone at the convention her enemy. Like, no one was really happy about it, like, attendees-wise, even.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, in person, she can't brag about it at the event, or else people are going to just make her wish she didn't even show up.
Yeah.
And I think she still sort of bragged a little bit online, being like, oh, they gave me back my badge, and was happy about it. But...
well, I mean, it even goes in the same line of, like, when people go to stand-up comedy, and you go and you get hecklers. All right, I've never understood hecklers, because when I'm there over at a show, I'm there for the comedian. I didn't pay whatever money to go and try to see someone in the crowd go and do something. The only time I ever did anything like that are open mic nights, and that's kind of fine. It's like, okay, as long as you're part of the open mic. But there are so many times where you'll sit there, you'll pay your money to go and get in, you'll be sitting there, maybe someone you came with or someone you brought with you and whatnot, and you'll be sitting there for the entire show, and you'll be having the greatest time, and then someone decides that they're going to go and say something or do something because they think, oh, I'm going to make the show better. It's like, no, you're not. You're distracting. And, most comedians are really good at dealing with hecklers. They either make fun of them or they find a way to incorporate it or whatever have you. But it's like, I didn't pay to hear, It's like Jack Smith 2 seats behind me that I've never heard before. I paid to see whoever is over on stage. So it always infuriates me. And I've only had one encounter with a heckler while I was in the crowd. I've had a lot while I was on stage, but while I was in the crowd that I got so ticked off that I actually stood up and him and I started screaming during the entire performance, during the entire show, and it was like, oh crap, that was a really bad idea, because I got asked to leave, the other guy got asked to leave, and we're just like, so did we really screw things up? And after, outside, we just started talking with each other. We're like, that was so bad, dude. I feel so embarrassed and whatnot. But it was like, yeah, it's like you don't go in and interrupt an actual performance going on. So. Yeah. People are dumb.
As Brandon says.
There you go. Well, like Ray had said earlier, thank you for coming over on the show. Welcome to episode 154 of the Crack Brain podcast, especially for you guys that are now listening over on Spotify. Since we are there, there have been a lot of people that have picked us up over on Spotify.
Really?
I stayed off of Spotify for so long, and now coming on, it's like, oh, okay, we're going to put us over on Spotify. And it was almost like a tsunami of people. So I'm like, oh my God.
It's weird. Like, Spotify seems to push a lot of people's content to a lot of like new people, and I've been kind of debating about going on Spotify myself. And there's been like a song that I discovered through a friend because they found it on Spotify, and when I look up the song on YouTube, all the comments are like, "Why did this show up in my Spotify?"
Yeah.
And when you know the song that I'm talking about, you're gonna wonder, why would this show up in anyone's Spotify? It's called Charizard. Why you eating all my pancakes? And it's a song about exactly what the title says.
Look, I realize that for a great many amount of people that they would be very questioning of why that would show up in their playlist. The moment I see that song, I go like, "Oh, Spotify, you get me."
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. I think it's probably like my favorite song of 2019 because like I've been like nonstop listening to Charizard. Why you eating all my pancakes? And it's just because he's doing this like whining nerd voice too. It's just,
Charlie, we got a song for you.
It's so good.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like that. See, that's been one of the things, like I said, kind of putting us over on another platform and whatnot. That it's a completely different reach than it was before. Before it was pretty fun to go and have like, seeing the geography of how many people, like the RSS subscribers and whatnot, where it was like a little bit over in like Utah and then a little bit, more over in the US. And then all of a sudden, like, you start getting into the other countries. It's like South America, couple of dots. You get over to like Japan, couple of dots. Then you get over to like China. And China and Russia, it's just full. It's just like, oh, that's where all of our listeners are, so it's like, I'm sorry that we don't speak Chinese or Russian or any dialect like that.
Ni hao.
Yeah, it's like, that's the extent of it, but I was just sitting there like, oh, okay, that'd be kind of, that's enlightening, but now with Spotify, it's like finally those other areas are starting to kind of pick up, and I'm like, I feel better. I feel a lot better now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I definitely say if you want to go and get on Spotify, do it. Anchor FM. Yeah, I'm actually supposed to work on that sponsor read. So yeah, there's that you have to remind me to. Yeah, so we can do a little sponsorship from Anchor FM. I have to remember to do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'll let you know. Do you want to, at the same time, we do Game Haven?
Yeah, something like that. So, well, it won't be on this episode, so another one. So, yeah, when we talk business on the podcast, we're good at that. There you go.
So, I have to ask, where does your name come from?
Okay. So, Stefan just looked up. He's like, I literally asked this question 24 hours ago.
Yes, I know. No. You'll be getting this in a game coming to you soon.
So, those hardcore fans, I'm sorry for repeat information. So, I started out as a gaming channel, and I kind of figured, like, oh, Portal sounds cool. Like, it's kind of a gateway to anywhere you want to go, and then 64 came from the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I kind of
so I just put the two together. And now I kind of joke with my fans that, like, oh, there's 64 different portals, which means there'll be, like, 64 different genres of videos we'll eventually hit. But who knows if we'll ever get there.
See, now that basically just means that you've now created Portal Prime. So now, yeah, you really do have to go and get to those 64 different genres. I'm very interested when you finally get to the Furby portal. All right, you give me a call.
The Furby division?
Yes.
I know all about that. Yeah. I met the person who found it, and like I'm friends with quite a few of them. I saw their Bohemian Rhapsody video that they did. Which convention was I at? I think it was at Wizarding Days earlier this year. I just go onto Instagram while I'm at Denny's because, that's where you go after a convention. And
I'm an IHOP man myself, but you have your fun over at Denny's.
Personally, I'm the same, but Denny's is where everyone else goes. So it's like, do I want to be alone at IHOP or do I want to go to Denny's? So I go to Denny's, and I go onto Grace's Instagram story, and I see them like making something. I'm like, what are they doing? I'm like, okay, I recognize Sakumi and JoJo. I don't know the other person that's in the video. And then all of a sudden, it's just blackness, and then like flashlights up on their faces, like Queen would do for their poster, and they're doing Bohemian Rhapsody as Furbies, and I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
what the heck is this? And like I had a few friends on the drive back, they're like, what? They're like, who likes Furbies? Why is this? And then the next week they're all about it. They're like, oh my gosh, Furbies are the best thing. And I'm like, of course.
It takes a special, sick and twisted person to be that appreciative of Furbies, and I'm one of those people. Alright.
If you appreciate Furbies, you'll love Charizard while you eating all my pancakes. I'm just saying, it's the same division of humor.
I was traumatized by Furbies as a kid.
We all were traumatized
yeah.
by Furbies. Go on.
Well, yeah, but you had it turned into like a sick love for them.
Yeah, I
Mine
did.
was the complete opposite. I think I brought that story up before, but basically every time I tried to get rid of my Furby, it always ended up back in my room, and I didn't realize.
I used to have toys that do that too.
Well, I didn't realize it was my mom doing it.
Oh.
So one time, so the thing would always call me Papa or Daddy, even though I said it to
Yeah.
say Mommy.
Yeah.
And it would always still talk when I wasn't in the room or when I
Okay.
was passing by. And it's in my closet most of the time.
Yeah.
But I could still hear it sensing me, and they would only talk. I even had one of those old tape recorder things.
Yeah.
Stay in my room all day, and sometimes it would just talk to itself, but most of the time it would only be talking when I was around. And so I tried so I tried to take out the batteries to, different times.
Yeah.
It would still be talking for at least 2 to 3 more days. And
without the batteries?
Without the batteries.
I'm already convinced it was possessed, but now that you said that, I'm confirmed.
Well, I threw it in the trash. My mom put it back in my room. I don't know why, because obviously if it's in the trash, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Maybe she thought that maybe, one of the other kids threw it in there.
Or
and
she's like,
then-
not in this economy, you're keeping this.
Demon Furby toy.
No, that's actually kind of true, because we were super poor, so we
Yeah.
had to hold on to everything we had, and it actually
Mhm.
took a while to get out of my pack ratness,
Yeah.
hoarding everything.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, but I could sell this one day. I don't know
Or
when.
I
Yeah.
could use this, I haven't
Mhm.
used it in 20 years or
Yeah.
never, but I could use it one day. Yeah, so, and I ended up throwing it out my window, which was 25 feet up, and the thing didn't break apart. It was still in one piece, and it showed up back in my room the next day. It, as a kid, not understanding how it's doing
Yeah.
that, it really freaked me out.
Yeah.
And I had I even had a bunch of porcelain dolls that I didn't buy. I was just given them for birthdays and
okay.
stuff. And I don't understand the appeal of porcelain dolls.
Dude, that's the other thing I've been seeing people carrying around, other than
Dude.
Furby this year. I know a few friends that carry around their porcelain doll everywhere. I'm like,
it's creepy. Their eyes,
Yeah.
especially if they have those blinking eyes.
mhm.
I would put a blanket over them, even though they were in my closet up on a shelf, and I keep the closet door shut.
Yeah,
I'd still cover
it's
them.
the
with a
extra
blanket.
magic protection.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Because I couldn't get rid of them because they're expensive and whatever. And,
Mhm.
so and so's mother twice removed cousin gave this to you, and it's well, I don't care. I can't play with it. It's not a Lego.
Mhm.
It's not a real doll. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm pretty sure that Furby was possessed.
I'm convinced too. Let's call the Winchesters. Hey, do something about this doll. It's somewhere out there still.
See, I look at the entire thing, and all I can imagine is the fact that I really honestly think your mom might have just been playing a long con on you.
You know what, that actually makes a lot of sense, because she used to kind of mess with us. She had 4 monster kids, so obviously she's going to try and get her revenge on us, because she wasn't home a lot because she
Mhm.
had to work 4 freaking jobs because she was a single mom of 4.
Yeah.
And but when she was around, we're we want attention, And so I know sometimes she would mess with us, especially like my older sister, who was like twice the size of us, and just she was really crazy. Like even to this day, she's pretty freaking out there.
Okay.
And I remember one time to get revenge on my older sister for us. For some reason, my mom thought this was such a good idea. My older sister's laying on the couch, completely passed out during, like, the day. And my mom just comes over out of nowhere. She doesn't say anything. She's kind of like snickering to herself. And she pulls her pants down a little bit. Sorry, Mom.
I don't like the way this is going.
This is one of the biggest things I could, I remember her doing. She farted on my older sister's face. It was so bad that it woke her up. Like, like where you're having...
Well,
and my mom just pulls her pants back up and just walks away, like she's laughing about it, but she just goes about her day.
I love the way your mom thinks. Her motivation is like, I'll get back at you, and just gasses out one of her kids. Oh,
and it was bad because my mom really stinks sometimes because she ate a lot of eggs.
Oh, so there's a lot of sulfur. Oh no.
I think that might be the new way that I wake up my kids for school if they're a little bit late. I come home and they're like, we don't feel well. I'm going to gas you out. We're going to go to school now. I'm going to go to school. Just get right up on him and sit there and be like, science experiment. Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure your mom should have been charged with like attempted murder or something. Especially once you mentioned the eggs, I'm like,
she wasn't encapsulating the fart around and get like a fishbowl, put in the back behind their head, like fart once and then relive the magic.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she did a lot of stuff, and her method for like kind of just getting back at you or making you do what she wants you to. My little brother, for the longest time, he wanted like long hair, I guess, and he wouldn't let her cut or get his hair cut. So he just refused, like through, I guess, a tantrum or whatever, whenever she'd bring it up. So one day, he's also passed out on the couch. I guess that's like her targeted area.
Just don't pass out on the couch. That's all you need to do.
Exactly. So she just came over and she just took a pair of scissors and just started grabbing different areas and just making a complete hack job of it.
No.
And of course he wakes up crying when he realizes what happened, and she's like, "You gonna get a haircut now?" And he's like,
he has no choice at that point. Gosh. No, he's gonna be so rebellious. He's gonna make himself look stupid to the world. Like,
oh my god.
Like, man, your hair looks terrible. Thanks, my mom did it. Screw her. She wanted me to get my hair cut, so she did this. Well, too bad, Mom.
See, what he has to learn to do is basically do what I learned to do every time my parents cut my hair, because my dad, he can cut hair. My mom tries her best, okay, but the couple of times that Mom would cut hair and whatnot, there were times when I'd be like, okay, Mom, put like a little fade over in the back and keep a little bit of hair up top, and all of a sudden I could feel like as she's cutting my hair, it would just go like, and that straight line would start dipping down. So they'd be like, okay, and of course I'm like, Mom, that's crooked. It ain't crooked. I'm more than certain that this is crooked. It ain't crooked, and then all of a sudden because there's no way I'm going over and telling like Pop after Mom cut my hair, like, Dad, can you fix this? Because Dad would have just looked at me and went like, no, it's funnier to have you live in anguish. I know my parents. But going over to school, like anytime that would go on, people would sit there and look over my head and be like, Walter's got a busted up head. And so they're like, yup, just to look a little angular for you is going to look, and just start going on with humor. And by the end of the week, everyone would be like, Mom, can I cut my hair at this weird angle? I got a few kids to do it.
No
I felt so
way.
proud. All of a sudden, like, starting a
Oh,
style of like, oh
no.
my God. Like, there was one time my,
You're a trendsetter.
my dad, he went and put a patch in my hair. Okay, so like, you know, literally think of like a leopard spot, like right there.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so just sort of messed up, and he was already basically with no guide over on the trimmers, but he had just kind of ground into my head so much more that like most of the time, like I cut my hair a few days ago, so it was already at this. But if you ground down really hard, like it'll go straight to the skin. And he did that, so it's like there's no fixing this unless we go and we get out the razor and start cutting up my head, which I hate to do. So I was sitting there just with this big old spot, and I remember sitting there and turning to the kids back, this is the new spot, all right? This is what y'all want to do over inside the hood, all right? Trust me, I'm a little black kid that surfs over in Huntington Beach, California. There's no ghetto around anywhere. And I'm sitting there like, this is the hookup right over here. You need this spot. All right, this makes you a G. You know? And all of a sudden, next day, people are just sitting there with like scissor marks over with a little circle inside their head. I'm just like, oh God, I wasn't expecting you guys to do this.
You're like, I didn't know they were that stupid.
Yeah, so your brother needs to learn. Just like, okay, just flip it, all right? Just sit there and make, no, this is what you want. Oh, God.
Also, I just saw Jay's comment saying, you just have to be nice to the Furbies. I treat Furby with love and respect so she doesn't end up turning on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are all very well known that like anything that cute, cuddly, and furry is going to have demented demon teeth somewhere on its being. All right, so it just needs to open up and basically like engulf someone. So
It would be like Pennywise from It.
I've never seen the movie.
Oh, well.
I don't watch anything scary.
He opens up his mouth. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You would even watch Bloodfest.
No, I did watch Bloodfest.
Okay.
I watched it.
Yeah, they had to force you
forced to watch
Yeah.
it. Okay,
It wasn't
and
even that scary.
okay, I'm telling you right now,
Okay.
there could have been a movie of watching me watch that movie. Okay,
I have no
'Cause
doubt about that.
I iron gripped the entire scene, like the entire time. The only time I was not completely freaked out was the little bit where Barb's character, and then I'm forgetting the guy from Spider-Man, but they have that little scene over at the shower and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time that I wasn't freaked out, and that was the only time where my black showed up a little bit. Because right when that was going on, and you can tell that they're about to go hook up off screen and whatnot, I screamed, "My man!" and everyone in the audience started laughing and whatnot. I started losing it, and I started like hearing a couple chuckles behind, but I kept on going. I didn't realize that Bernie, Barb, and everyone was standing right behind me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
when I got told that later, I'm like, yeah, that's great. I'm freaked out,
Yep.
So there's that. And Barb apparently still remembers that.
No, she does.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. I don't want to ruin that experience anymore for you, but Carly did go around RTX telling people that story.
Are you kidding me?
I witnessed her tell at least 10 people myself. And I didn't even hang out with her that much. Like, it was like, oh, there's Carly and Brandon. Well, they can't move because they're in Spartan armor. And she'd be like, oh, hey, guys, you want to hear a funny story about my boss?
Like, it was a year ago. It was really fun. Like, now my fear is like, thank God Barb is not coming out over to FanX, okay? Because I already know for a certainty that that I would sit there inside the crowd. Someone would say something, most likely Carly, and it would be like, "Hey, guess what? It's like my boss is over here. He'll do the my man thing again." It's like, dear God, no. So and this now makes me freaked out for next year's RTX. It's just like I'm gonna do nothing. I'm gonna be there, but I'm going to like sit in a little bubble and just like don't need to be seen.
No, you got like the magic where they do notice you and good things can come.
See, and that's the thing where like it's one of the reasons why I really liked RTX is because there were so many things that happened that shouldn't have happened. you know, that it was just weird coincidences and happenings and things like that.
Yeah.
And I like this last RTX, the one that I didn't go to. I kind of prepped a couple of people that I met over this last year, like, oh, when you go, you know, have fun, do this. And then a couple of the there was a voice acting partner I had for Level Up Expo and whatnot. She actually went out over to RTX, and I was like, make sure you have your business cards and da da da. And then like I don't know if anything happened for her, because I was like, if you go there and kind of network, something will happen. You know, there's no way it could just be dumb luck.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm hoping that happened for them. But yeah, I definitely realized that, like, I went and for some stupid reason made a splash that I was not expecting or wanting to make.
we all have that strat. Like my friend John, he's not on the internet as King of Lame, but like he doesn't do anything on YouTube much anymore. He doesn't really have much of an online presence as much as he used to. But at RTX, people just treat him like a king, because like he's just like that hype guy that could just get everyone to love him somehow. But he's like the ultimate hype man for like any panel or concert, like at the Jeff Williams concert. He got people to put him on their shoulders, and then he'd yell RTX at everyone, and he had the entire room just yelling RTX, RTX.
See,
Wow, we need that guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm always like before going over to RTX, I was actually really afraid of doing anything like that. Because I was like, okay, as much as kind of like what we were talking about before, it's like what I think would be really, really awesome and sit there try to like hype a crowd and things like that, and to them would be all like, we don't need you to do that. We really don't need you to do that. You're just causing up a ruckus and whatnot. You know, that I try my best to go in line with whatever the con is thinking, but then there's cons like Tosho Con, they're like, no, have fun, you do you, you're the MC, and just you know, or like anytime I'm over at Anime Bonsai, they're like, make a scene, do something, you know. But then Fan X is like, don't do anything, for the love of God, don't do anything.
Like, we got enough bad PR as it is. Don't do anything.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So yeah, which, you know, bringing up RTX or not RTX, Fan X. The Crackbrain will be doing at least Chaos Corner out over at FanX. So if you've been out over to our Chaos Corner, that was either in Level Up Expo in Las Vegas or at Pop Culture Convention in Provo, Utah. Definitely go and check those out. We're planning a couple of new ideas, some that I just told the team about today, and other ones I'm not going to tell y'all at all. I'm just going to spring them on you as soon as we're there.
Oh, no.
So yeah, that'll be fun. But definitely go and you know, check those out. I believe that panel is supposed to be on Saturday. They just did a quick mock-up of the schedule. That's most likely going to change because they already told. They told us panelists, like, this is not the finalized panel schedule and whatnot, but it's like, okay, there's that. But yeah, it's like, it's over on Saturday, I believe, at like 2 o'clock. Okay, so definitely go and check us out. We don't have the room number. I'll give you guys more updates as we go and kind of go from there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to FanX in that endeavor, but now seeing like, okay, I got the little list that they showed up today. You can go and get the app and see that. All of a sudden, like, if you look up my name, I'm attached to 4 different panels. So I went and I sent a message over to the panel director. I'm like, so I'm only down for these 4 panels, and he's like, oh, I'm not done. He's like, how many? And he's like, I hope that you take a lot of water and you get a lot of rest, because I was like, so far there's 1 panel on Thursday and 3 on Saturday. There's nothing on there for Friday. Do I have anything for Friday? And he's just like, you may. A lot.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. Bossman Jenkins gonna be busy.
I mean, at least it should be a fun time.
Yeah.
You know?
You're gonna be tired
at
as
least.
shit, dude.
I really am.
Yeah.
I really am. Well, knowing that, so if I read it correctly, Saturday I've got the My Hero Academia panel, and then I've got a half an hour break. And then I've got to go and be ready for Chaos Corner.
Oh no!
Right after that.
No,
and then Yeah, it's like I'm already the hype man for the My Hero Academia panel, because basically like fall time is when we do the big one. So usually they have me there to like kind of like liven up the crowd and make it like super interactive and super big. And then when we do it over inside the spring, since that's the smaller version of FanX, we have someone else go and do that one that kind of like tones it down a little bit. So I'm gonna go from two things of like high energy. So by the time like that evening, I think like around 5 o'clock so far it says on there, I'm supposed to be doing a lo-fi panel, which is just like anime, like low-key, relaxed music. I've already told them,
okay.
I'm gonna have chamomile tea. I'm gonna sit up over there. I might fall asleep, y'all.
Oh, man.
I might be that panelist that all of a sudden, like, yeah, we're gonna sit here and listen to his.
I mean, I was gonna say, as long as you're like prepped up as if you're like an anime girl at a computer while it's playing, you're
I do
fine.
your eyes.
Like you could just fall asleep. It doesn't matter as long as you're posed like you're studying on the computer.
You know what? I think I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I got my headphones over here just to sit there and put them on.
Have the projector on behind you, so it looks like you have like some sort of static background.
See? See, I like the way you think.
Yeah.
Well, and then like we could paint those like anime eyes over your eyelids,
God.
so when your eyes are shut, it just looks like it's
or put
supposed to
those
be like
anime
that.
girl masks on top.
Oh,
on your
God,
face.
that's creepy, dude.
Yeah, no, they are freaky. Yeah, maybe not do that.
Do you have any panels for
Dude.
FanX?
I wish. So far, it looks like I just may not be going. I may just be saving up money for bonsai.
Okay.
So
Is
I
it
might go.
only a funds thing?
It's mostly a funds thing.
I got
So.
you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never wanted to ask, but now that you're offering,
That's one of the cool
I
things.
can work for you. I'll work, Mr. Sir.
Yeah, so that's one of the cool things with being on panels. So for anyone that is unfamiliar with most cons procedure for panels, like once you're there to go and be a panelist, most cons will give you at least one free pass in. And then the more panels you do, the kind of like more they're willing to go and offer you, like green room access or whatever have you. But yeah, it's like with FanX, they always sit there and like if you're a panelist at all, they will give you they'll give you at least one free ticket. So like when I have the entire team going over to FanX, it's like, oh, we're gonna have like 8 free tickets. Okay, so it's like, yeah, well, save it for everyone else that has like one other person they want to go and bring. But like, I've already gotten a few messages from some teammates like, no, the person I would bring is already coming with me, or like, you know what, I've got no one that already hasn't bought their ticket. So yeah, it's like we'll have a handful, and we might do. Depending on how many we have left over, we might do like a small giveaway and things like
that'd
that.
be
I was
nice.
actually gonna bring that up after the.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that should be happening. But yeah.
That's one of the things I wish RTX did do. Because so far, if you're a community panelist, you still have to buy your ticket to get in.
Yeah.
Which, they're a smaller convention at a really big fancy setup, so I can't blame them. And they've also only been doing community panels for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Next year will be their third. So, as someone who's been honored enough to do both years, I'm hoping next year might be a little different, like maybe a discount code or something.
Yeah,
but,
and that way it really incentivizes making panels more professional, more entertaining. Not saying that if you incentivize someone, or if you don't incentivize someone, you're not going to go and get that. But it is something where it's like, no, when you are kind of propping the people to go and be panelists, like, look, we're going to give you a couple of different perks, but that means you got to come prepared. So an event like RTX, yeah, we're already going there because it's not just like a random fandom type Comic-Con. It's literally like, no. Usually, if you're going over to RTX, you are a Rooster Teeth fan.
Yeah.
So that is something where you're already kind of incentivized as just a general attendee. But for being a panelist, yeah, it would be kind of cool if, there was some sort of perk. And honestly, if it was something as simple as like, oh, okay, well, we'll just give you a free photo op, that would be awesome.
That'd be nice. I mean, one of the perks of going to RTX is you get a photo op for free already with your ticket.
Yeah.
But like to get an additional one, that'd be amazing. I know my first RTX, I had a glitch in the system because I bought 2 tickets. I somehow got 3 codes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that was nice. First year of RTX, I got to meet like most of the people I wanted to see, and
Yeah.
Oh, that's really
now
cool.
I'm at the point where it's like I bump into people enough by accident at RTX. Like, do you know James Williams from
Yeah.
Funhouse? I accidentally physically walked into him twice this last RTX. Like, walked past his Guardian, walked past the line of fans he had, boom, physically hit into him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Oh yeah, I'm in a dress. I'm trying to rush to a panel. I'm sorry. And then I accidentally walked into Trevor Collins physically.
Oh.
And because of that, they beefed up security around him because it was in the Roost.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was in the Roost, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's nice. And I'm looking at their fancy display where they have, like, all these TVs, and they have a MacBook Pro, like, in the middle of this thing. I'm like, that's like a $4,000 display you're having up on there just for decoration. What the heck?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it, and I accidentally walk into him while I'm looking at the monitor. And I'm like, oh, oops. Oh, hey, it's Trevor. I'm like, oh, can I get a picture? And then, like, a Guardian kind of, like, quietly points to the giant line that's looped around all around the store. I'm like, oh, that's what that line's for. Oh. And I just kind of, like, quietly walk away as if nothing happened. And I see, like, 2 security guards, like, walk and block off the one spot I accidentally walked through.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Oh wow.
I did. I ran into Jack. I ran
Dude,
into.
I'm still waiting to bump into Jack.
Oh, Jack was great because like he was literally going from one panel to another one.
Oh.
And I saw him, and so many people were all like, "Can I go and get a picture?" So it's like he was going, and he was kind of picking up the pace, and I'm like, "Jack, if you run, I'll take a picture with you." And he's like, "Cool." So like our picture is literally like I'm holding my camera like this, and we're both just hucking it, just like. Got the picture.
I
we
did
were
that
gonna
with Carrie Shawcross last year, and Gray. I actually did bump into Jack this year, but it was during his fake AH Crew Jack meetup.
Nice.
And because of that, because I wasn't dressed up as fake Jack, I couldn't get a picture.
Ah.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, I'll just stand in proximity and watch my friend who is dressed up get a picture and
Right.
sadly walk away.
See,
Yeah.
Aw.
like I said, it's one of the reasons why I love RTX and whatnot, because there's so many people that you're not expecting to bump into, that it just happens. Where it's like I bumped into Andy Blanchard and Laserbeam both at the exact same time and whatnot. And I was just kind of goofing off and just sort of like having fun with just a random person that I'd met over by their shop and whatnot.
Mhm.
And they were kind of looking over at some other like little swords like right across the way and whatnot. And I don't know what possessed me, but I kind of saw them. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but I'm not going to go and bug them. And all of a sudden, I started doing a stupid Australian accent
Oh,
for the
no.
person I was talking with. And Laserbeam comes up like, we don't all talk like that. I'm like, you literally do. And he's just like, okay, and we just started going back and forth, and it was almost kind of like a little mini skit.
Mhm.
After that, we're just like, okay, so that happened, and I was like, so can I get a picture with you? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then he does like a weird like face and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is awesome. I never would have imagined anything like that. And Andy's just sitting there like, this is weird. I love this.
It's funny how it's like Andy that's the one doing that. 'cause
Yeah, it's like he was just sort of standing over there. I was like, Andy, can I get a picture with you too? And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes. Yes, I want this picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's great for just the ability to kind of like bump into people and then take a
Mhm.
picture, because a lot of different conventions are nowhere like that. If you bump into a person, other than the bathroom,
Mhm.
if you bump into a person, usually it's like, nope, can't do anything. No, I gotta go. The bathroom is a weird nexus zone where I've met more people over in the bathroom of just like doing my business, and it's all of a sudden like, hey. Why is Captain Adama from Battlestar Galactica taking a leak next to me? Okay, we're just doing a thing.
Oh,
You know?
I think Harley told your Level Up Expo story too.
Which one? The
with All
the
Might,
Chris Sabat?
Vegeta, yeah.
Yeah, that one's gonna that one
Yeah.
should be happening again during the My Hero Academia panel. So for anyone that hasn't
Okay.
heard that one, yeah, come over to the My Hero Academia panel and you'll hear how awkward I am when I pee next to celebrities. You're welcome. You were there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. Hey, okay, so before we go on, I've got one thing to read, and of course, like, I put it down, and I really shouldn't have, but I'm that kind of professional.
The Game Haven.
The Game Haven.
Let's go with the Game Haven.
There we go. Looking for a new tabletop game for your weekend party? How about leveling up your current Magic deck with a couple booster packs from Core Set 2020? Swing by your local Game Haven for cards, collectibles, and more. With 5 fantastic locations spread across Utah, Game Haven has been delivering knowledgeable and personal customer service for almost a decade. Founded by 3 gamers whose primary focus has been to provide customers with a fantastic gaming experience. Stop in and chat with the friendly staff while finding the perfect game for you. And for anyone that lives outside of Utah, Game Haven has built an online store that can ship to all of the U.S. You can find them at yourgamehaven.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at yourgamehaven. Game Haven, your stop for the very best gaming experience. Yes! I got through it! I got through it because y'all weren't sitting there pointing at me.
I thought about
I was
it,
pointing
but-
at you with my eyes.
So
Do they sell D&D dice? They probably
Yeah,
do.
they do.
Oh, they do.
Okay.
So
that's
many
actually
dice.
where I got my dice from, and
Okay.
they also have a little coffee shop there. So when you go there,
In the Sandy location.
Oh, yeah, the Sandy location.
Dang it.
So should we also bring up MiniCon?
Yeah, so, for anyone
Thanks, Jay.
that
Jay's saying they sell a lot of dice.
yeah, they definitely sell so many dice. It's something where if you're into tabletop gaming, all of the Game Havens are great for that. I actually picked up Settlers of Catan. What was it? It's the sailing one. I literally just picked it up like 2 weeks ago.
Black
But
Flag.
there we go. No,
No, that's Assassin's
no,
Creed.
No, it was
I
like
previously made an Assassin's Creed joke.
I got really
I thought you were so
excited.
trying to troll.
I was trolling.
But yeah, it's like seafarers and like getting
Sea
it.
thieves.
I hate you all. But yeah, it's like got it. And was like, okay, cool. And then like the staff that was there, because the representative that we know, Denise, she wasn't there. So we're like, okay, that's fine. But I went and still got it, and there were like so many other different versions that I hadn't heard about. So I was like, what about this one? They're like, oh, this one has this to it, and this one has this like little mercenary pack to it. And I'm like, So yeah, it's like they're really, really great that way. But yeah, they've got a ton of dice, and they actually do events and whatnot. So it's like there's Magic tournaments, there's Pokemon tournaments. I was hearing something from Denise that they were saying like they were going to be doing D&D type things too.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I would
What about
definitely.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah. Oh, dude, they've got it.
Okay, good, because I went to a different game shop in Utah. It's in the Sandy area. It has some Japanese name for it, which is weird because there wasn't a single Asian person in the whole store when we went in.
It happens.
So I went in there with my friend Kitty and my friend Ashley, and we were going dice shopping because Ashley was like, get shiny rocks that make the click click sound, but she was making me spend my money for it, so I was like, fine. So we go in there, and Kitty is like, oh, I really want to get a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and because we for some reason got a Yu-Gi-Oh kick this year, we go up and we ask him, hey, do you have Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Because we see like a whole shelf full of Dragon Ball Z cards.
Yeah.
So surely they have Yu-Gi-Oh. And he just looks at my friend deadpan, just like, no one buys it, blah, 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 threw them out ages ago. Like, was very rude about it, to the point where I just, like, looked at, like, the 4 sets of dice I had holding in my hands. I'm like, do I buy these still? Or do I just, like, turn around?
Yeah, it's
and-
like your customer service has turned away a sale almost. So
And also with both of my friends being female, we're in the shop and there's like 4 different D&D sessions going on. All the eyes went on us the second we went through the door, and were just watching us the entire time. And
Yeah.
so, and for my two friends who are female to have their geek card checked while we're in the store, like, oh, you like Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh, like something real or something.
See-
You know, it's like,
See, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy Game Haven, because like, you know, going over to like I like comics. I haven't been able to go and get comics in a long time, but going over to Game Haven, like one of the reasons why I like them so much is because when I actually worked for a pest control company, one of our accounts was inside their same lot for the Sandy location, and all the time I'd get over there, help out this other business with their pest issues, and then I'd go over and like, oh, I'm gonna check out some comics and whatnot, and they were always like super relaxed and super chill and whatnot. And then, you know, like the fact that there was a coffee shop inside, that they one of the things I love the most is like they get really excited when they figure out how to do something. So like it's like one of the baristas, she was all like, "Oh my God, I figured out how to finally do the leaf and whatnot." And kind of, she was showing everyone in the store like, "Look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it." I'm like, this is awesome. This is relaxed, you know.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's like I go over there primarily for the comics and whatnot, but you know, like Jay is saying right over there, you know, they do have a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh over at the West Jordan store. You know, I wish I could get out to West Jordan more often, but
same.
Sandy's closer. So when you live down south, you got to go to the southernmost tip. So. Yeah, it's like that's fun, but at the end of this month, the Sandy location will be having their mini con. So Saturday, 31st, from noon to 4, they'll be having their mini con where there'll be things like games being played, which we will be running. So we'll have different games kind of set up over on Xbox and over on PC. There'll be some tournaments going on. You can definitely go and get like I think there might actually be kind of like a comic sale, whatnot. And there will also be a couple of different artists there that you can actually go and get either their works, or I know one of them will be doing commissions and whatnot. But yeah, it's like that's definitely going to be a really fun experience to be able to go and, you know, to go through. And we have the pleasure of knowing one of the artists that's going to be that's going to be occupying one of those slots.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do I know the person as well? Question
You
mark?
might be in the same room as
Yeah.
the person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be there doing my first ever table at a con.
Okay.
I've never really sold my art like that, and Game Haven was with Disney Denise and
Yeah.
Lisa Hall. They are doing like a sponsorship thing where they're helping artists to learn how to sell their prints, I guess, kind of.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to get one of their slots, and
Oh, nice.
I'm really excited but nervous because I'm still trying to finish some stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have some artwork out there, and I'll be, yeah, there.
Like I said, I remember when they had made that post of like, we're looking for, you know, for a couple of artists, and all I did was like,
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, I didn't really know what that was until like I was reading it and, you know, talking to the people after signing up for it. And I was still having to talk to them even just recently. Like, I'm like, so how does this work? I don't know what to do. And Lisa gave me an interesting character.
Mhm.
It's like a bat hyena
Ooh.
hybrid,
Okay.
which I thought was really cool. And she's like, if you can draw that, like her playing a game like really intensely, we like to use that as one of your prints. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna come up with that design, and I've got like a chibi Star Wars going on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've been seeing some of the different little posts that you've been doing.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that's really cool about following Ray. So check out Gamma Ray's channel over on Instagram. But yeah, it's like when you're doing the progression of some of the different things and whatnot, so you can you can see most of your line work and whatnot. It's always like, what are you making now? What do I recognize and whatnot? But yeah, seeing I started seeing the Leia, and then saw, I believe that's Han.
Yeah, it was
And
Han
then
Solo.
is that supposed to be Luke over inside
Yes.
there too? Okay, yeah, because Luke definitely has a very interesting, has a really fun look to him. And I'm like, I like this.
So I didn't know what exact characters to use, but I thought it'd be really cool to do like a Star Wars Kids. But the more I'm drawing it, they're more turning into chibis, because that's just what I'm kind of best at, I guess.
Okay.
And so right now I have Princess Leia and Han in one corner, and Leia is grabbing his vest and yelling at him. He's trying to get away, and so I thought that was really cute for kids to as little kids. And then right now I have Luke with a very oversized Jedi robe on, and he's got little socks out, and he's like, yay! and I'm going to be, or I have I was trying to do Yoda in it. I'm still having trouble drawing Yoda, but in the beginning when Yoda first talks about how to get the Force started, you have to work on rocks. And you have to get the little pebbles to start moving and levitating.
Yeah.
That's what I have him working on. But as a little kid, he's gonna be trying to get it to work, and the pebbles aren't moving. So, and then I'm gonna have Darth Vader in there, or Anakin, with oversized Darth Vader helmet on. I thought about doing the Spaceballs helmet.
I mean, it looked like that anyways.
So that's gonna be one of them. And then my other print I'm working on is Pokemon characters crossed with Dragon Ball Z. So I'm gonna have all of the DBZ characters, but as Pokemon. And I was thinking about doing
Charizard, while you eating all my pancakes.
Sure.
Yeah. Stefan's just melting into his chair.
Well, I really like the idea of Bulma with a Ditto face, but I don't know. I'm still having trouble coming up with. Hi.
What's up?
You're that excited, huh?
If there's any way to go and put Zapdos as any kind of Super Saiyan, I don't care. Make a Gohan Zapdos.
Okay.
Or Jolteon. Oh my god, Jolteon. Definitely do Jolteon.
Especially with the spiky hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god, I'm in love with this. You just put two fandoms of mine together from childhood, and you're making a baby out of it. So it's like, yes, please.
Well, because I was starting to work on the come up with ideas for one of our Patreon prints as us as Pokemon characters. I was thinking about, instead of making you a Pokemon, I'm gonna make you as Brock, doing the whole fight stance. And
You can hit me with a rock. I don't care. I'll make Tyler Geodude-esque, and all of a sudden I misjudge something and he's slamming into me. I don't give a crud.
well, I really think that would make a really cool short as well once I start getting my animation going.
Oh, we've thought about it.
Oh, okay.
The writer's room are writing things.
Well, and another Patreon print I was planning on doing was all of us as Dragon Ball Z characters
Piccolo,
as well.
Piccolo, I get Piccolo, I get Piccolo, I get Piccolo. I'm a
No.
short Piccolo,
No.
but I get
But I'm already Piccolo.
You shut your.
Sorry.
Thank you for watching this episode of Cutler Podcast. Stefan's got to kick some ass.
It was just the I'm already Tracer meme. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
If I get Krillin, I'll be pissed.
That might happen.
Yes, yeah, I knew it.
And then so right now I am working on us as Game of Thrones characters for this month's print.
Nice.
Yeah, I've actually got some drawings, and I have like Carly as Sansa, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, she's like thinking of all this stuff she's gonna get, like a sewing machine and like, jewelry. And then when I was talking to Candace today is Candace's birthday, so we were at the aquarium earlier, and so I want to say happy birthday to Candace.
Happy birthday.
She's having a good time so far, and we made sure to go see the otters, and she was a very sad panda when she couldn't see this clouded leopard thing. Yeah, and they all went out to eat when I left, but I actually have a very funny story about Tyler and bees
Bees.
after that. But so Candace brought up a very good idea for Carly as the Game of Thrones character. As Daenerys, instead of her dragons, they're all birds.
Oh dear God.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Oh dear God.
Well, it really sucks because I've already drawn some of the characters and colored them and everything. So right now I have Mason as Littlefinger, just like thinking of ideas, but instead of like ideas, it's all just like jumbled mess inside of his thought bubble.
Toast, cinnamon rolls, clouds.
Dude, some of the shit he comes up with in the group conversations are just so random. So whenever I have a random thought or anybody else, we ask him in the chat just to kind of like, I guess, mess with him, and he'll just go off. It's kind of.
He has no idea what's going on ever. He'll just sit there and be like, okay, you guys are just, you guys are talking. It's fantastic. What's going on?
Yeah, like, or what was it? Yesterday was motorboating, and he's like, what was it? Did he even know what motorboating was?
I
No,
have
he had
no
to look it
idea.
up.
I have no idea.
Which kind of motorboating?
Like
And
booze.
any kind.
Oh,
any
those kind,
He
okay.
just-
Yeah, just any kind.
Sounds like
really.
we live in Utah. A lot of people go motorboating. But you talking about
True.
motorboating?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Motorboating.
The best description we can ever give of Mason is you really need to think of the most innocent,
Yeah, he's
puffball
adorable.
type adorable child and raise them into the same body, but just put it with the age of 22 or 23.
Wait, this was the person that wore like the giant shoes to level up, right? And he wears glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, he wears
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah.
I remember he wore like really big shoes too.
That's
Like
just his shoes.
it just made him look like a little kid even more though.
Like
It's
he was from
and-
Kingdom Hearts or something.
Yeah.
it's a whole thing. Like, I love Mason to death, and there's so many times where, like, I feel the need to shield Mason from the world. I'm just like, don't you be mean to my baby.
Don't change Mason.
Well, like, even when we took Madam Moody out over there with us, and we were like, okay, yeah, and Mason, he's like super innocent, so you have to go and give him give him the benefit of the doubt. And she was like, I'm gonna corrupt him. I'm gonna corrupt him. It's gonna be his thing. I'm gonna corrupt him. And then within 5 minutes, she's like, oh my god, I love this little cinnamon roll. He must stay innocent forever. Oh my god, I was like, I see, you fell for a trap. Oh god, he does this with everybody.
That's how he gets you.
So yeah, like I said, I can't wait, and that now gives you guys reason to go and check back with our Patreon over the next little while, because that definitely is going to be some different ideas, and we've been kind of working on just sort of doing some ideas kind of based off more of the content and things like that. So, I'm actually really excited for most of those, and oh god, I cannot wait. So yeah, definitely go and check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/crackedbrain. I believe that one is just Cracked Brain. I'm sorry for the confusion when some of the accounts are the Cracked Brain and other ones are just Cracked Brain. Like that's
I have the same struggle.
Yeah, it's like that's the issue when it comes to with like certain domains are taken or certain usernames are taken and whatnot. Like we can't use regular Cracked Brain over on YouTube because there was a band named Cracked Brain
Oh
that
my
was
gosh.
It
disbanded.
comes up all the time.
Yeah, it's like-
whenever
but there's nothing with that. And then we can't use the URL Cracked Brain unless I want to pay $2,000 for it.
Oh my gosh.
So there's that. So there's all kinds of little things that just like, I'm sorry for the confusion. We're trying our best to kind of keep them all right around the same, but every now and then, like, certain things just aren't available. So
Yeah, that happened with me with my YouTube channel, actually. Originally, it was ThePortal64 on YouTube,
Mhm.
and then I guess eventually someone deleted Portal64, and then also YouTube decided to change it, so even though my URL would be youtube.com/ThePortal64,
yeah.
it could say Portal64 on the channel itself.
Nice.
So I fixed that, and then I had to reprint whatever business cards I had, because on the business cards it said The Portal64,
Yeah.
and now it's just Portal64.
Yeah. See, like I said, hopefully that will work out for us, or I will wind up suspending something else I was thinking of and just getting the domain crackedbrain.com.
If that thing runs on at least 4 wheels, don't do it.
But
Is that what you're thinking about suspending? Dude, when I got home, I told my mom about it, and she and I were talking for like an hour just about like all the things we could do with that.
So what we're kind of alluding to, I think we talked about it like almost a year ago. But one of the things that us in Cracked Brain kind of thought about a long time ago. This is actually before you had come on. We wanted to go and get a bus, so
Oh my
that way,
gosh.
when we would go out to different cons and whatnot, we could basically load everyone up and all their stuff and everything onto. And you can actually go on the Utah Public Auction and get some of the decommissioned Utah paratransit buses for like only a couple $1,000s. So it's not really expensive at all, and most of the time you just have to go to they've got a location out over in Draper that they house most of them at, so you just have to go over there, and on the site they always tell you like, we don't know if this one's gonna run. Well, once you get over there, you just drop a battery into it and you go like, does this thing run? And if it runs, you're good to go. But yeah, I've really thought about over the last like year and a half, it's like we could make so many of these trips so much easier if we just have one vehicle that we can huck everyone into and then go, and especially if it's got seating. So yeah, like with all the plans of trying to go and get out over to RTX, I've revisioned my idea of the bus, because before it was like we could do a passenger van or I could do a bus.
No, so I'm team bus, because some of the ideas that I had thought of, but then when I talked to my mom about it, she even had some of the same ideas that I'm like, oh yeah. So here's how you could get the most out of that bus. While we're driving to RTX, we could do like a gaming tournament on the bus while moving for content. We could do the bus vlog, so there's like a bus vlog plus an RTX vlog.
Yep.
We could do all this content that's just on the bus on the way to the main thing.
So here's what I will say. If
Where can we park the bus?
So
Walmart.
Funny thing.
No, it's true, actually.
No, funny thing. I went in a year ago. I talked to my apartment manager, and they were basically like, "Look, if there's spots for it, we don't care. You could do whatever you want. Just make sure it's not going to block any bit of traffic and whatnot." And if, once you guys get around over here, you kind of see that, like, basketball area out over there. There's hardly any cars that ever park over there, and that's almost a perfect spot for it. Or we can use the sidewalk, because the sidewalk is completely fine. They don't care what gets parked over there.
Okay.
So I've thought about that. That's if we're still over inside this apartment. We're planning on moving, and that is one of the things where, like, once I move, I really don't care. I can park it outside, and it'll just stick around out over there. But no, like the content ideas, like I said, it's like there's those. I've thought of a couple other little things where it's like, now that we have this wireless setup and whatnot, and by then we should have the new mixer completely up and running and going and whatnot. It's like I can have 8 people on that bus and everyone's mic'd, and we could just sit there and just lose our minds with recordings, the entire way up. So I've thought all that stuff. I will definitely say, for the bus to happen, and this is a little bit foreshadowing, It's not going to be prepared for a while, but we are planning a Kickstarter. We did a Kickstarter like a year or so, or like a year and a half ago. And it was just to kind of help get some of the expenses kind of taken care of. It kind of worked, but it kind of didn't. We didn't make our goal, but we wound up kind of going through GoFundMe after that, and we hit enough of that goal to like get some of the things that we needed and going, and people got shirts and things like that.
Okay.
But we are planning to do a Kickstarter maybe within about 2 or 3 months, and that one we're going to be, so a lot of things that we've been kind of mentioning, like, oh, stay tuned for this and whatnot, it's been in preparation for this Kickstarter. So like our animations, we're working on shorts, where we're getting ahead over on videos, and we're working on different products that haven't hit our Shopify store, which hit up our Shopify store. It's still there. We're working on these different things in preparation for it, so that way once we launch that Kickstarter, it will not only help get some of the things that we need production wise, but if we can basically hit kind of like our next levels after that, then things like the CB bus, and all that kind of stuff will kind of be pushed into that as well. So so look out for that. Like I said, it's not going to be for a couple months. We're still fine-tuning a couple different things. I will tell you guys right now, like, we were working on a hat that has been a monster. So it's like we're working on a couple of different things to be able to offer to you guys and whatnot. So stay tuned for that. But so that's pretty much up over on our time. Like I said, it's definitely been fun getting you over on this episode, David. Like the little bit of gaming stuff we did yesterday and whatnot, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be fun, and whatnot. So I'm definitely glad that you could make the long, arduous journey back out over here.
Oh, dude, it took so many days to get back here.
See, there you
I
go.
was here yesterday, but it took days.
It took days. It's that whole like Dragon Ball Z hyperbaric time chamber thing.
Yeah.
So I get you. I know where your head's at.
Well, before we end the episode, I really want to bring up that the bee story.
There you go.
Okay.
Go quick.
Please.
Today when we were at the aquarium with Tyler and Candace, we saw bees, and Tyler was going on about how, did you know that bees produce milk? He could not remember the word honey.
Oh no.
And
Honey.
he just asked it like it was an informational like did you know type thing, and he embarrassed the heck out of himself because we're making fun of him because he could not remember the word honey. He's like, yeah, bees produce bee milk.
Bee milk. Oh no.
So if we're to go by the same 100% truthful knowledge that we acquired in Meet the Fockers, or no, it was Meet the Parents, do bees have nipples? Because that's how we know if they produce milk, if they've got nipples.
Oh my gosh, that could be like a t-shirt, like, don't call me honey, it's call me bee milk.
Yeah, it's like, don't call me milk.
It's got like
don't call me
with,
honey.
like, nips on
It's
it.
like, don't call me honey, it's like, don't call me honey. No, I like your way better. It's like, I produce no milk.
Like
no
a really
nips.
hot bee, a really hot bee with like them big old bosoms, and she's like holding a glass of milk.
See, there you go. It's like no milk, no nips, just honey.
I didn't know where he was going with it because, she's like, without bees, we wouldn't have fruit, and I was like, yeah, we also wouldn't have. Well, like
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, well, also almonds, potatoes. I mean, they help mass produce a lot of our produce. And I thought he was gonna go on with the whole almond milk juice or almond milk joke that a lot of vegans get, where it's like, oh, the hardest part about being vegan is milking your almonds for that milk.
Yeah.
And I thought he was gonna go on about that. But then he took it a completely different direction. He's like, yeah, so did you know that bees produce milk? And it's like,
And cows
oh god.
produce cow
Oh god,
honey.
Tyler.
They just produce cow water, all right? That's
Cow water.
Oh.
Gosh.
This is gonna be stuck in my head for the next 3 days. I know it.
Well,
Then Jay coming in where I would 100% wear a shirt that says "Don't call me honey, call me bee milk."
I will make that happen.
Please make this shirt.
I will.
It's amazing.
Oh, I love you guys. I love you guys so much. So, like we were saying, make sure you tune back in next Saturday for another episode. Not like I said, when FanX goes on, we may or may not pre-record that episode, but we still got another couple weeks for that. So until then, make sure that you go and check out David. Like, where can they find most of your stuff?
Find me on YouTube at Portal64. There's my Instagram, that's ThePortal64, going back to that the problem. And then on Twitter, this one's going to really throw you through a loop. It's at DavidPenrod64, and I should really get that changed.
You-
Well, I
should-
could
yeah.
actually find you there. When
Yeah.
I typed in Portal64, you came right up.
Oh, yeah, because I put in the name, but not the handle.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta make that handle, Twitter friendly. So not a whole lot of spaces to it and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Really, really concise. It's why I stuck with CB underscore Stefan. So yeah, I'm on Twitter. I don't like being on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter. So
You actually write a lot on Twitter that I was surprised.
So like I said, I do write on Twitter. I don't use my Facebook almost at all. I use Instagram when I have pictures and stuff like that. But no, I've got random musings that just happen through my head. That used to be half of my when I had the Twitter handle. It might still be over there, but it was Darkness in Utah or Darkness in UT. Half the content was all stuff that I was going to be using for stand up and all that kind of stuff. So I would tell people like, yeah, if you want to go and see what I'm about to talk about over at the next open mic, follow my Twitter, and all that. And most of it was not good.
Well,
It wasn't good.
a lot of comedians do use Twitter as like a pre-joke ground,
Yeah,
because
it's-
they like to test out their jokes with their audience and
Yeah.
see what lands
Yeah.
before they write up a stand-up.
So it is a really good tool and whatnot. So yeah, it's like definitely go and check that out. So definitely make sure that you're following David. If you're feeling fun, follow our stuff. But at the same time, if you're here or you're listening out over to us, thank you guys so much. Definitely go and be as interactive with us as you want. Like I said, we've got a lot of stuff planned. We really hope that you guys stick around, and yeah, we're trying to go and do all this for y'all. So again, until next Saturday that we do this recording, we'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. And then, I don't have to walk around anymore.
Right?
I can literally. Yeah, my mouse is way too fast.
Oh, yeah, that's sensitivities.
There we go.
Yeah, they were making fun of his sensitivity.
Yeah.